Good morning, everyone. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're getting ready here for our live session. I hope you all had a great weekend and looking forward to the session ahead. I know I am. Listen, I'm not sure yet. I need to get a sound check over in here. Sound check 1 2 1 2. The thing is that Zoom wasn't working this morning. We needed to go with our backup stream service. Here we are right now. Mr. K, big shout out to you as well. All right, we got a lot of movement and a lot of levels being hit. I just want to sit here for about 30 seconds before we get going over here to make sure. Yep, Joel, thanks for that. Appreciate it. And then we're here to go. So we're going to start over here with the S&P 500. I want to give everyone just a moment to get in over here. I'm excited. I wanted to jump on here about 20 minutes early. I was so excited to start this session with all of you. Yesterday, I was like, man, I missed the fam. I was looking forward yesterday to getting on this session with you. But here we are right now, so I'm enjoying it. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Luis, we don't really look at exotics too often in here. When we get some time, Cameron, good to see you. If we get some time, we'll look at them. But there's a lot going on. Could you maximize your screen? Let's check that out. If I maximize my screen, it takes me... Let me see if I could still see y'all. How's that look? I don't know. I'm getting ready to position long myself, maybe, Ahmed. We're going to take a look at that right now in just one moment. Just want to check if everything is okay now that I maximize the screen. Better. Thanks, Mr. K. All right, Thomas. US dollar, Mexican peso exploding today. All right, let's begin our session, everyone. Thanks, Danielle. I do appreciate that support very much indeed. We're looking here at the S&P 500. Here's where we're going to start today. We're going to start here, obviously, with price alone. We could see that one thing happened overnight is that we came into our trend line over here. We peaked at the trend line and at the horizontal support over at 29.47. You can see that price so far has stabilized over there. We're now at the lower range over here. The sentiment has turned extraordinarily bearish. Everybody is bearish. Obviously, this is reflective of probably most specifically the battle with COVID. That's okay. Over here, I'm actually looking now to begin position myself long. I'm looking to see if I can position myself long. How will I do that? Well, I'm coming down over here to the 1 hour time frame and push this over. The first signal that I'm going to get to start building a long position, and my stop is going to be below over here. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be somewhere around 29.39 or a little bit lower at 29.33. But in that area, I'm looking to build a position in. I'm looking as price makes higher highs on the 1 hour to begin scaling myself into a position. We're going to see where it goes now on the other side of this trade. And I'm not looking for anyone to follow my trades. I'm just explaining how I'm looking at the market to you all by providing my analysis, right, and my perspective. You're able then to go ahead and build off of yours. Now, if we do close below this trend line over here, right, that puts us in a pretty precarious situation, right? We could see some further pressure down into this area of support. We got some big support over here between the area of 28.58 and 28.73. If we lose that area, that's when I will become pretty darn bearish. I'm not going to become bearish that's not true. I'm not going to become an uber bear, let's call it, until we break this area of support between 28.58 and 28.73. If we do, then I think 26.30 is in the cards. It's entirely possible, right? Right now, I think everyone, markets tend to overreact to the upside. They tend to overreact to the downside. I kind of like to live in between. Let's see what happens from here. In this area, if we break this trend line, if we take out the overnight sessions lows. Oh, by the way, so what did we see overnight after we pointed out that the overnight sessions tend to drift upwards. We've seen, obviously, last night, the reverse happened. I did point it out. Normally, by the time people pick up on something, it's done. You're not going to find it anymore. Brian, oh, you're making me hungry. I haven't had any breakfast. What's going on with that? Between these two areas over here, I am definitely, the bears have control, but with a neutral bias for myself, right? This will be an accumulation area for me also. I will take the stop over here first, and then I'll look to see if I can position myself in lower off towards the support. So that's my plan going into this week right now here on the S&P. Isan, good morning. Great to see you. 2908. 2908. By the way, we are off about 9.5% from the highs. That's a pretty significant pullback on the markets. For me, it's a place to look to lean in and see if I could get long. It's the pullback that I was looking for, that I saw coming. We're now into the buy zone. Over here, towards the top end of this range, was the sell zone until we busted out to the upside. Then we became cautious. Now that we're towards the bottom end of this area, this is an area of support. We got horizontal support. We got trendline support. And we got the whole world really bearish and negative, right? So that's where we're looking. Yeah, intraday, Juan, same thing. I'm not looking at it as intraday. I'm looking at this as swing perspective, personally. If you're looking at this intraday, let's see what's going on. You could see, I mean, you hit our trend line support and horizontal support over here. That's where the market put in the low. It found some buyers. It bounced up to the first area. Let me zoom in. It bounced up to the first area of resistance and now is trying to see if it could hold this support and come off. So all this is a buy area for me. Let's see what New York does with it. It's going to be an exciting session. A conflicted market. Yeah, that's what markets should be, right? In a time like this, at least. Went ahead and muted myself. Green forever. Thank you. Brian in Dubai, it is taco time. Yeah, so it depends on where you are. The 2K Beast. But Oanda is a fantastic broker. Oanda FX Trade, that is. Not the MetaTrader version. And you could connect directly to TradingView and trade directly off of TradingView, which is pretty neat. But it's a fantastic broker, especially, it doesn't matter what size account you use. With Oanda FX Trade, they use units. And you could use perfect money management. I highly recommend it. So we're going to be checking back in here on the S&P in about 20 minutes as the U.S. equity markets get open. We want to take a look around, see what else is going on. At that point, we'll take a look at the NASDAQ. We'll take a look at also the Dow, and we'll get a better feel for what's going on. We want to give it a little bit of time. Right over here, we're going to move over to WTI, which is under pressure. Today, it's down almost 5%, and more importantly, it is testing right now this area of support. Now, the support line I have over here is at 35, right? But you could see here was where the resistance was, and that was flipped to support. That's exactly where we're trading right now. WTI needs to make a stand here, or it's going to see some further pressure downwards. I still continue to be ambivalent on it. Bitcoin under pressure. The concern comes, if the markets are going to... Everyone now assumed, go back last week and everyone thought the markets were going to new all-time highs. They figured that, the NASDAQ's trading at all-time highs and the S&P and the Dow are soon to follow. Don't get ahead of yourself over there. So now the same thing is happening here on Bitcoin. People are talking about the fact that, markets are now going to test their lows. Bitcoin's going down to 4,000. I think you're getting way ahead of yourself over here. Bitcoin, generally speaking, from the time of the halving to the next bull run starts, could be several weeks, right? Several weeks to 3 months. And as long as we maintain above 8,500, I have a really strongly bullish bias towards over here. I maintain my buy orders not at 91, right? I maintain them at 85 and 82. I hope I get to pick up, some new Bitcoin at those levels. Although that's not a given. I'm not sure that's going to happen at all. We'll see. I think that the markets are actually going to put in a little bit of a stand here. We'll see what happens. Nice, Drew. Accumulate. Yeah, 87. If you get that fill, is a good entry long term. I think anything could happen. There's no such thing as a given, right? We're not. Anything could happen, including in the markets, right? The markets really could obviously begin to spiral out of control. We could get some huge solvency issues. I don't think they're happening right now. They're going to happen. I don't think they're happening right now. I think this is a good buying opportunity. I'm getting ready to see if I could, build myself into a nice position this week. Bitcoin over here, I maintain really bullish, but neutral over here as we continue to consolidate. It's not until we break the 10,400 to the upside that I will say the bull market has become, and I'm really, really, really bullish. And again, for the next 5-6 months, for me, it's all about accumulating all the way up towards 19,000. Yep. If we lose 85, if we get outside. By the way, this is like if we lose this trend line over here, right, and if we lost this horizontal support over here, then you have to be on the back foot. Then it's quite possible that we come back down and we test, between 67 and 65. That would be entirely possible. That's not my base case. I don't think it's going to happen, but you have to prepare for everything. Yep, you have to prepare for everything. Yeah, it's entirely possible, Kofkog, that we do see that level, but that's not yet the probability or even close to it. So gold and silver are definitely off today. Gold and silver are on the back foot right now. If you look at this from a deeper perspective, right, you could see that it's still consolidating, right? It's if you step back, it's really, 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 really healthy and bullish. It's actually a big, giant range over here, which means, as you get closer to the bottom, maybe that's where you want to continue to lead in. Now, I thought we were going to lose the 1670 level before. I was looking for 1641, right, and maybe even 1578. I hope I get the opportunity to buy down there, but that's also not a given. That's kind of similar to people looking for 6,800 on Bitcoin, right? That would be great to get the opportunity to accumulate down there. And by the way, for the record, if there were to be a large sell-off and or dump on Bitcoin, I'm buying. I think it'll be brief, like last time. And again, I believe we are close to entering, regardless of what happens with the markets, the bull phase of Bitcoin. Now, what about silver? Silver also looking obviously on the back foot today. What happens as you come close to this 16.62 cents over here? $16.62. You have some support over here, not just black and white, right? Between 1670, between 1680 and 1660. Is that a place that you want to lean in to buy if you are bullish on the precious metals? Yeah, JJ, don't. I'm just sharing my analysis with you. I'm not trying to get you to piggyback on any trades, but if I'm entering a swing trade on the S&P, I'm doing that from a lower time frame. Right now, I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame. That could be anywhere from the 15-minute, 30-minute, and sometimes even 5 minutes during the first 40 minutes as the U.S. equity markets open. Let's take a quick look at the calendar before we continue, because we have Japan, the Bank of Japan, ready to release a monetary policy statement today. They're expected nothing to be new, expected to be on hold. And then later Thursday, we have the Bank of England, who is expected to start some QE. I don't know how that's going to be affecting pound pairs this week, but we'll be taking a look at. This is really retail sales tomorrow is a big deal. We want to see a good print there showing the U.S. consumer is in the market. That could really provide a boost for the markets and the dollar. And also, we are looking at Powell, the week of Powell, who's testifying Tuesday and Wednesday, and then again on Friday. Yeah, Hans, that's awesome. Yeah, JJ, that's where it's all about. Blah, 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 blah. All my swing trades on the S&P are entered as intraday trades, and if I get the opportunity to push them, then I push them. I saw a quote this morning on Twitter, and it talked about the fact that you need to be ruthless in holding on to your winning trades. Obviously, we all know you need to cut your losses. If you're still holding on to losses and hoping, sit down with yourself and have a talk and really come to understand by holding on to those losses could ruin your entire year. Holding on to one or two losing position could ruin your year. Always cut them short, but flip-flopping that and getting just a few good trades a year that you're able to push, to hold on to, that can make the difference in you here. Yeah, Rob, I did hear about that. Robin, may rest in peace. The poor kid was 20 years old and took his life because he got trading options, $700,000 in debt in Robinhood. Geez, man, I mean, I wish he would have known that he could have just declared bankruptcy, right? That's absolutely hard. That's a sad story. Speaking of Robinhood traders, we're going to take a look at them this afternoon. The question had kept being, is it possible that the Robinhood traders are pushing the market up over here? It wasn't Robinhood traders, right? Robinhood is free. It's a free trading app, which means that you are the product. Just like on Facebook. Facebook is not free. You are the product. And Robinhood basically takes all of that data and then, outsources it out to all the hedge funds. Citadel is the beneficiary of that, and their high frequency trading algorithms piggybacking, front running all of the Robinhood traders. We'll take a look at that later. Thanks, the Crypto Cat. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Hey, listen, we're going to be taking a look at the pound US dollar in just a moment. We want to take a look first at the DXY, and then we'll get into that. Powell has already started slowing down, Jordan, QE. Last week, as the markets really took a puke, on Friday was the lowest amount of QE. I think it was somewhere around $3.7 billion. Since the March low, it was the lowest amount being sent to the market. And that schedule is going to continue. So expect some volatility. We were speaking about that as we were rising. We said, we're not going to go straight up. We're not going to go straight down. I think, and I don't know, it's a developing situation for me day by day, but I think what we're going to see throughout the summer is some volatility in this range, right? That's where I think we're headed towards. That would be nice. We'll see. Anaya checking out a Head and Shoulders. Let's check it out on the 1 hour. So we got a reverse Head and Shoulders, is that, Anaya? May 27th. All right, May 27th. Over here, you have the upper left shoulder right over here. You got the head, and now you have the right shoulder. Is that possibly what we're looking at? Let's look at this on a maybe a 4 hour first. All right, let's check it out on the 4 hour. Where would the neckline be if this was the case? The neckline, I guess, would have to be coming in right around there, or is it right here? Yeah, right there. Let me fix that up. Looks like this would then be the neckline, right? So did you just get a break today, and is this going to be rejected? Possibly be aware of it. When Anaya points out a Head and Shoulders, you better pay attention. They have a history of working out. Right. And then Stefan's also bringing some realistic perspective here. It could be. I'm not really sure. And every time she points one out, I say the same exact thing. I'm not really sure. And I'm not here. But watch it. I mean, whether it's a Head or Shoulders or not, you have broken down through this support right here. You came back up now. You're testing it to see if it's going to hold as resistance. Watch what happens. What time frame would you want to trade that at? Right? Yeah, maybe even right here on the 2 hour, 2 or 4 hour. See what happens. The break of that bar could be pretty telling, whether it's to the upside or downside. We'll come back in and we'll check on that for sure. I want to check out the DXY with you all. So let's move over to the DXY. The dollar is right now a little bit jumpy this session. Let's come in and let's look at what happened over the last hour. You can see this is a better look over here. We got a little bit of support over here coming in at 97, and now we're building new resistance over here right around 97.45. This is the consolidation. A break of either way is going to lead to our next move here on the dollar. I don't know. I could go either way. I really am neutral and don't have a preference. But this is the guy to take to lead us. So with that in mind, as we look at some setups right now or look for setups in the market, just be aware we're seeing a little bit of consolidation here on the dollar. Now, it took us a while to regain this level over here at 97. It took 3 attempts that failed. And then all of a sudden, it was after the FOMC. It was after the FOMC that we took another run at it. We bursted above the level, and now we're consolidating. That's all we could really say. And by the way, Anaya and Stefan, I love it because, you know, we need to always consider both sides of the trade, right? So it's good when we're able to work off each other like that. Really positive stuff. U.S. markets are getting ready to open in 4 minutes. I just want to take a moment here and thank you for all of the likes and those that are here with me Monday morning, supporting the channel by showing your love, hitting that like button. But I only ask that you do that if that, number one, you appreciate what's being shared here and the time that I'm spending with you all, and or that you learn something new. If one of those things do occur, then I do ask you to please go ahead and hit that like button. Now, we got the Australian dollar, US dollar. Remember, US dollar right now seems to be in a little bit of a consolidation. And here you're looking at Australian dollar, US dollar is now consolidating below this resistance. If it is able to hold this resistance and start resuming down, that might open up a trade to the downside and vice versa, regain this level over here. Australian dollar, US dollar is kind of neutral. You could play it both ways, whether now you're looking to buy off support or sell off resistance, but this is not attractive to me just yet. Let's take a look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, which down over here off support might be interesting to actually lean in to buy, right? We've pulled down now. We've pulled down to a nice area of support. You could see that area of resistance providing the support right now. Here it held as support, and now we're testing that area. Could be a place to lean in here long to the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm going to keep tracking it and watching it myself. Euro, Australian dollar. We looked at this over the weekend, and Stefan, I need a new date. Well, hold on a second. Hold on. I want to check on that comment. Fighting with Webull over a deposit they took and said it did it and froze my options from selling them. Shouldn't your bank be able to confirm that deposit? If you have, Steven, you have to let me know if there's any problems because I do recommend the Webull app, and if there's any problems with that, I will not be doing that going forward. That's the first problem I ever have so far encountered or heard about with Webull. Please let me know about the situation. I only want to obviously recommend, products that are solid and I believe in. So please let me know. Euro, Australian dollar is coming into this resistance horizontal at 1.656 and also the trend line resistance. And so far being rejected, this opens up a possibility of getting short over here. This is also a beautiful trade because if we are able to trade above this trend line and this horizontal line over here, that does open up the upside. Now, is that a downtrend? Yeah, I think that this is in a near-term downtrend, but at the same time, it is above that line into an area where, it depends on where you're looking. If you're looking over the last couple of months, we're in a downtrend, right? And that's why we're looking to sell this resistance, this trend line resistance and this horizontal resistance. But if you do zoom out further, above that resistance over here, especially specifically with this breakout of the trend line, it does open up the upside, and I'm looking to trade both sides of that. That remains in play. Let me flag that so I come back to it. Let's check out the euro. Japanese yen over here. Boom, 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 boom. We got a bear flag forming on the SPY. Let's pause for a second and check that out, and then we'll come back to the euro, Japanese yen. What time frame are you looking at, Andrew? I see the SPY definitely coming down into this area. If you just follow my mouse, it is an area of support and now bouncing up off of that support. Really tricky. I obviously, you all know I can't stand the gaps. Mind the gaps, it just makes it very difficult to see what's going on over there. That sounds fishy. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm not really sure. I don't see anything here except what I'm looking at over here. Price came down. So far has held that support above this area, above 297, 298. Pretty darn bullish over here. Get below it, we could see some further pressure. US S&P opening up over here. Here's where I'm taking my first buy entry. I already have an order in there filled over here. I'm not saying for anyone to piggyback me. I'm just laying out what my plan was going into the session. For everyone, we'll see what develops over here. DXY. Chris, gaps happen because there's trading that takes place on the index overnight in the futures, and the SPY is only open for day trading hours. So there you go. Let's go back to the euro, Japanese yen. All right, so does that make sense? Over here, the SPY is only available trading during U.S. market hours, which are where the bars you see. Yeah, I'll look at this on the daily time frame with you. These are the trading hours for the SPY. It's closed overnight, so depending on what happens overnight, these things open up accordingly, and then you get these gaps, right? Yeah, there are traders who believe that, well, gaps need to be filled. Well, what about this gap over here, right? What happens if you bought this gap down expecting price to fill? That would have been pretty painful. You would have been wrecked, right? That's not a strategy. That's not a strategy at all. As the markets are opening right now, 2 minutes since the U.S. markets opened, markets are way down, roughly 2% across the board. S&P is down 1.8. Let's see or a very long wait, right? What was it on the euro US dollar? It was about 4 years of a gap. Euro Japanese yen over here, it looks kind of neutral. You could say that we're coming down now into an area of support. Possibly a trader could look to lean if you get a signal off of the support. I don't know. When I say I don't know, that means that I'm staying away from it. I really don't see an edge one way or another. I'm probably more inclined to sell any resistance, considering that this is a downtrend. And after being rejected over here, it was a pretty big area. But I don't see it right now. That's not a place that I see some setups developing. Looking here at the pound Japanese yen, it's a similar situation. You're definitely down to this area where price could definitely hold support here, start resuming up. It looks like that might be the case. I'm just more attractive to the Australian dollar, Japanese yen right now to the long side if it develops. Yeah, definitely, Darren. Definitely, Darren. Good comment. I gotta highlight it. Let me see. Chris, man, thank you. So do I. Every session, I'm learning something new. That's why I love the markets. That's why I love doing our analysis. That's why I love preparing over here. I'm neutral here on the pound Japanese yen. Nothing I'm looking to take over here. By the way, this was a great trade overnight. U.S. dollar, Mexican peso, coming off the support over here, triggered along and is now continued to resume upwards. Now, if the U.S. equity markets are able to put into a rally today, if they are able to take back some of these and that's not happening right now. But if they're able to take back some of these huge dumps they took today, you will see further pressure then on the US dollar, Mexican peso, also on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, just to be aware. Both of those continue to look good. You could see here the US dollar, Canadian dollar is into some resistance right now. So anyone who's long that trade, definitely be careful. Christopher, I'm not sure that anyone wants to go long here on the S&P 500 here. I am. I took my first scale in position right over here, and I will continue on the 1 hour over here as long as we hold in this area between 29.39 and 29.33. I'm looking to continue to build in a long position here. Obviously, because we're trading into some pretty strong area of support right now. We have this trend line support, which held overnight, right? If we lose that, then I assume we're going to see some further weakness. And it's not until we get down to 28.73, 28.58 that I'm looking to go ahead and buy over there as well. But right now, as we held the horizontal support over there at 29.47 and our trend line support, the risk reward, I like it. See what happens. Russell 2000 under a lot of pressure. Yeah, maybe Tom, but I don't really think so. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look. Let's keep going. We haven't really gotten to FX, and I'm really looking for some opportunity that I haven't yet seen so far this session. So I want to continue taking a look around until something clear develops. Let's look at the pound US dollar. Pound US dollar actually bouncing off of some support over here, putting in an entry. I didn't see that. I wasn't even on my radar. Well, that's interesting. Nothing else to say about that, but you could see here the pound, after quite a pullback into a nice area of support, is holding that support and now making a higher high than the previous price bar at a nice time of day. That could definitely be a nice trade, a buy signal over there. Interesting. What else do we got? New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. New Zealand dollar, Japanese. By the way, how's the sound today in comparison to when we use Zoom? Is there any difference? Because this streaming software is actually nicer from my end. So, lovely. All right. So, maybe we'll just go with this then for the immediate future. What else are we looking at over here? It's better, 72 Capital. We like better. Sound is great. Thank you. Where else? Is anyone seeing any opportunities? Because I'm seeing kind of a flat market, and I don't like flat markets. I'm not seeing anything going on that I see. Nice, Isan. Audio and visual is better. There you go, to Bungsan. This is what we're going to make our primary platform then, and we will be using this. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, monthly head and shoulders. Let's look at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen from the swing trader perspective over here. And again, this is pulled down into an area of support and seems to be basing out over here. I'm looking to see if Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm going to go back to that in 1 second. That's where I'm focused in on. I'm seeing the Japanese yen pairs so far basing out after a lot of pressure at some areas of support. It's pretty bullish indication that this move might be coming to an end. WTI is interesting. This might be a place to lean into buy WTI as you're in this support. Over here, you can see that we're in this area of support. Lose it, and there's further downside, no question about it, right? And the downside could go down to 31.70 or 28.55. But right now, we'll see. DXY, by the way, it continues to consolidate. Not much. I saw last night that with the equity markets under a lot of pressure, I saw that the DXY wasn't really reacting one way or another. I don't know what to make of that, but I took note of that. I also saw the precious metals were under huge pressure, as was Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens. ADD Dad, glad to have you in here with us. Jason, let's go back and look at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. It's a question I see on Japanese yen actually. This is where I see the potential. So we're going to focus in on them. We're going to look across the board over here and even maybe the pound US dollar. For whatever reason, I don't know why I'm hesitant about the pound US dollar, but that looks like a setup as well. Let's take a look across the board over here. You can see here on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, it had a lot of trouble. It had a lot of trouble for a long time being held down by this resistance area, right? This was even, I didn't take this, but this was the trade. Boom, right? Anyway, now that we broke out above this area over here, it went off like a rocket into the resistance and is now took a steep pullback, but into this area of support. This is support over here, and price is now definitely holding that support. It's pretty positive. It's pretty bullish. But the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen is not the only one doing it. Now you got to get a trigger. There's no trigger here. Is it possible that you take a trigger? See, for me, I wouldn't buy this. I only trade FX on the 8-hour time frame. I would not buy this far away from the support as it made a higher high up here right into the resistance. Is that even resistance? Yeah, it's resistance. No, I'm looking down here. Yeah, there's resistance for sure. You see all that support? That's a resistance level. There's no way I'm going to take an entry that close into a resistance and that far away from the support. So I would just kind of step back and wait to see what happens further over here. What about other Japanese yen pairs? Here's the pound US dollar, and you can see here that this actually triggered and overtook this support. I mean, that looks pretty good over there. Again, I just see the trend here of possibly the Japanese yen pairs are now making a turn after a pretty steep pullback. Where is the opportunity? That's the question. The Australian dollar, they all kind of have a similar pattern though. I don't want to chase things up this high, this far, even though I see what's happening. So, I don't want to get sucked into these long trades, even though I see them holding that support and then resuming up. So again, I don't have to be a part of it, even though if I see what's happening over here, because I could wait. Actually, I could wait as they come into resistance, and then maybe look for an opportunity to get short over any opportunity into resistance. Nevertheless, I want to see what's possibly happening and see if it gives me an opportunity. What about the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, right? You can hear my voice, and there is. I see what's happening, but there's no authority in it. There's no certainty, and that means that I'm not even going to consider, even for a little bit, taking any Japanese yen trade. It's all about running up. Good. See what develops over there. Once I get into position, I tend not to follow it and or monitor it. What about Bitcoin? If it's able to get back above 9,100, that could set off a nice little move. Guys, could you sense that I just don't have that certainty? I mean, I have a trade-off on the S&P 500. That's all well and good. But I don't really sense that this is an opportunity for me to be making moves over here. I don't even see like a wave coming in. I see choppy waters. I'm just trying to let's look at that. I'm just trying to express to you what's going on and how I'm viewing it. Yeah, that's an entry over here developing on the Euro Australian dollar. If you want to take it. I'm not taking it. I'm selective about my trades. That's and you have to be. And I'm actually looking to see if this move fails. If this move fails and we get above this trend line and this horizontal resistance, I think I'm more looking at the long side over here. Right now, though, I do think that we're going into we saw a big down move in the markets. We saw a big risk off move in the markets last week. I think that's going to be retraced a little bit right now, at least for the beginning part of this week. I'm seeing that happen on the Japanese yen pairs. That would mean there could be some follow through down over here on the Euro Australian dollar. This is not a bad trade to take. It's a good trade to take, but I'm selective about my trades. It's not one that I want to personally take. So by the way, that let's look at that, Leo, to see whether or not this is contrarian today. I mean, so I'm viewing, by the way. First of all, the sentiment is extraordinarily all of a sudden we're going to zero. The market's crashing out there. I don't buy that. All I see is this move was way overdone. This move was way overdone, and then it retraced, and now it's retraced down into an area of support, right? So if you're looking at this is March lows, we're in an uptrend, and now we're into support, right? So that's an area that I'm looking to buy. That's not contrarian for me. Or if you're looking at this is a downtrend from the high over here, right? As you were into this area of resistance, right? You could sell resistance. So, it's just all, I guess, all how you look at it. But on the Japanese yen pairs, right, what I'm seeing, starting here in the Canadian dollar Japanese yen, is that also if you're looking at lows over here in March have been put in, and now we have pulled back into this was sell resistance downtrend, but now over here you're into support. So that's the way I see it. I'm not following the Japanese yen pairs. I see also the pound US dollar is probably offering one of the best setups over here. The entry would have been down, about 20 pips ago. That might backfill and retrace. But Chris, that's awesome. Looking forward to working with you. Glad that you did join us. I've seen results across the board, those working with me in the course, and nothing but great, really, really positive feedback. So Model 3 life, man. I don't want anyone following me. I just want to be able to provide you a really unbiased analysis of the market and help you make informed trades and decisions. I don't trade the US 30. Here's a look at it over here. It moves pretty much in tandem with the S&P. Not exactly, but pretty close. They're very correlated. Whatever I'm looking at on the S&P, you could then translate to what's going on over here. But I'm happy to look at it. You could see over here also that we have, just like we've pulled back into support, right? We've pulled back into a nice area of support. We should actually start marking up our chart over here, right? And you can see over here, this moved down over here. This held as support over here. It came into play again over here, and it is right now. Now, that's not a black and white line. I would say that's between 24.45 and 24.64. In that area, you're looking at a nice area to lean into. Listen, it's not a given, but if you start resuming up here, right, it's a place to look for that price pull back into support and is now able to resume up. And it doesn't mean that as we get high, we won't look into sell. Yeah, the course is doing absolutely great. Actually, this week, the next 2 days is going to be a lot of time spent and devoted doing some personal work with some students. And then I actually hope later in the week to actually reworking the course modules. Hey, listen, the course itself, I guess the most important thing is the results it provides. Nevertheless, I really want to spend a lot more time reworking a lot of the modules and just continuing to make it better and add to it. So when using the true trend indicator, what time frame do you use to look at entry points, right? Looking at the SPX, it looks like the 1 day and 30 minutes show conflicting trends. I'd say it's perspective, but what is safer? So the true trend you could use on any time frame whatsoever. The true trend you could use on any time frame whatsoever. It works the same on all time frames. It's a question of what time frame do you trade, right? I trade FX on the 8-hour time frame. So I'm not seeing it's a bull trap. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we're going to see some consolidation. I'm looking for multiple entry points. As long as we hold my level. If we lose my level, I'm just going to fall back. I'm not playing it to the downside, and I'm going to wait as we come into this area over here to look to add to positions. Now, the true trend will be negative if that happens. That's fine. That's fine. You could use the true trend as a guide. It's not. I trade off of price, right? Support and resistance levels, and the true trend is it could be an enormous help to you. But anyway, in the course, that's a good, Darren. That's a really good suggestion. I want to just quick copy and paste that. I can't copy and paste it. All right. Mental note. Actually, I'm going to take a screenshot. Bear with me 1 second. That's a good suggestion, Darren. Thank you for that. So I'm kind of at, by the way, Hertz and airlines getting bids. Hold shift and then go over it. But it's the software I'm using. It's just the live stream software I'm using, and it's showing me the comments as I'm looking at the chart, which is pretty neat, actually. It's really helpful for me being able to follow what's going on with you. So could I explain the true trend? Hey, Kate Tuplin, have you seen the video on the channel? If you go into the playlist on Forex, I think it's called Forex for Beginners. There's one of the videos in there is on the true trend. Start with that, and then let me know. Ooh, Stefan, I want that sounds very inviting. Arizona seems like a great place to live. Um, so let's keep going over here. The session is a weird flow for me. Do you ever notice screenshot works the best? Thank you, Cyrich. That's the best way to do it. I love it. Ooh, kids rafting. They're a little young. Soon we'll be there. I can't wait till the kids are a little older. We can do things like that. The flow of this session is a little off for me, and that's because it's like there are no setups for me to act on, right? There are no setups for me to act on. I could see what's happening over here. I feel like we're going from risk off heavy, and that's kind of stabilizing at some areas of support, and we might be able to have a retrace of that move. So right now, buying off of support on Japanese yen pairs makes sense. The dollar is just consolidating. It's not really offering me an edge one way or the other. It's consolidating. The dollar might actually lose this level, which is possible. And if it does, then we're going to see some further weakness on the dollar. We'll see if and where that's stabilized. That might be a reverse head and shoulders developing on the US dollar. Let's see now if we go in to put in a right shoulder anytime in the week ahead. But what I'm seeing here, and possibly also the equity markets, look to me like they are looking to possibly stabilize as we went really risk off last week and are now into an area that we're looking to hold. That's all I'm seeing, but I'm not seeing like, I love to use, and it's so important, that analogy of the surfer looking for the right wave to ride. And I'm sitting there on my board looking at the waves coming in, because there are waves coming in, but none of them seem like a wave that I want to ride right now. Charles, I took out the Kraken link, not because I don't believe in Kraken as a service. It's one of the best places to buy Bitcoin. All hardcore Bitcoiners in the industry completely support it. It's just the fact that you have to go through so many loops and hoops in order to not, you can make the wire, but to getting verified, it's just not an easy, seamless situation. So it's a preferred platform in the fact of working with them, but it's not preferred in the way, it's just not easy to do. Again, BlockFi, I'm not even yet sure about long term whether or not it's a good idea to keep funds with them or not. But as far as buying Bitcoin, it's very easy and seamless. Cash App, I know that it has a phenomenal reputation. It wasn't easy for me. Maybe that's because I was out of country and they saw where my IP was, and therefore I didn't get the approval. But Cash App is really easy to buy off of for most people. Jordan, could positive interest rates from the Bank of Australia be driving plenty of investors to flock to the Australian dollar since March? Jordan, I think personally, and I think we're going to continue to see further pressure actually now on the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. And that doesn't mean today and or this week, but I think what we saw happen, I think what we saw happen is just markets overshoot. We overshot to the downside, but the Fed came in hard and fast, including this was the low was the day we opened up a direct swap line to the Bank of Australia. This was the exact day right here on March 19th. And then since we've seen that dollar shortage pressure alleviate, and now that overshot the other way, and I think that we're going to see further problems peek their heads. But right now, I think I'm more in the camp right now of if we move into a pretty large range consolidation. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's what I'm leaning towards seeing, and that's what I'm looking for. Something big will happen in the next 2 hours. Why? Nick, see, that happens also a lot at the amount of people being onboarded into Bitcoin is really overwhelming for a lot of these people. And yeah, customer support could be lacking. That's why I love FX Choice. FX Choice has phenomenal quick customer support. One of the best out of any service I've ever used. I really, 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 really like working with them for that, as well as their withdrawal time is extraordinarily efficient and quick. Nice comments, James. This Friday is it double or triple witching Friday? Be aware, could be a lot of volatility. Jack, that's irrelevant. That won't help you one way or another. As far as risk per trade, that's what you should be concerned with. Where did you hear that Powell was easing QE? You could probably go, Matt, to the Federal Reserve. What is it? FederalReserve.org website, and they make known their schedule. That's public information. Yeah, Lester, I'm really excited to be working with you as well. Listen, Lester, the most important advice I could give you now as we begin working together is just follow my lead, right? Just follow my lead in the way that I bring you through it. And it's going to really make things, really simple and easy. And I think you're going to see some. So I think anyone who's hanging out here with us every day and watching the live streams, this is an amazing education. And probably from this alone, you could work yourself towards turning the corner to profitability. For sure, all of the how do you say? I don't know what to say. But what we work through in here together, I think, could get a lot of traders to turn the corner to profitability over time. But there's no question working directly with me, it's going to be more efficient and it's going to happen at a lot quicker pace, as well as take you further. That's my belief. What else are we looking at today? Because I'm not seeing anything else. I'm not seeing. Jordan, the true trend on an 8-hour chart is short of saying a short is coming up. What are you looking at? MMC 83, what are you looking at? Because I want to pull up. I'm not sure. Are you looking at the Australian dollar, US dollar? Yeah. Is a short coming up here? Is that what you're looking at? Yeah, maybe line. This could be translated into all different aspects. I definitely agree. William, we'll come back and look at the Euro Australian dollar. So what's difficult about this is the Brahmer Bull 18. Boom. So I don't want to get into that right now. I want to confuse you all. But listen, on the true trend listen, if you're the type of trader, and this is a good trader to be, who's not looking to pick bottoms and not looking to take tops, but looking to make the money in the middle, the true trend is phenomenal. Not for finding the top, not for finding the bottom, but giving you that little bit of area in the middle where you could make money, right? But at the same time, if you're looking at a top was put in over here, and I'm not trying to call that or say it is, but if it is, right, now you're looking to sell off resistance, right? So you're looking as the entry CCI becomes overbought in the uptrend into the resistance and then peaks down. I don't want to confuse anyone. that would probably be, maybe we need to add modules to the course, like more, let's call it advanced modules. Yeah, this is looking good, and we could continue to see this little bit of risk off we were seeing come back onto risk on, and that would be supportive of the Australian dollar. This is the right trade to take, by the way. If you're taking, I'm selective, right? I average 3 trades during the week. It's Monday. Is this going to be the trade for me? It's not the trade for me. It's good. It's not a bad looking trade, but if we get rejected here and come up, I'm interested in that trade on the Euro Australian dollar. Maybe a head and shoulders forming on the hourly chart of the VIX. Marco Anaya was also pointing out that happening on the Dow. So if you don't have the true trend is the 70 period CCI overlapped with the 3 period CCI. You could pull up 2 different windows on TradeStation. You could pull up the 70 period true trend and then the 3 period true trend. It's not as nice looking, but it's still, traders need to be flexible. I don't follow the VIX ever. I don't follow the VIX ever. Right? I know when the VIX is trading up because you could see the volatility in the markets. I personally don't use this as any edge whatsoever in my trading. I could tell you when the VIX is up or down by what's going on in the markets. But yeah, so I can't offer any bit of advice here that would be helpful. So, by the way, just like since we have a moment here for discussion, and there was another pair I wanted to look at. I'll have to look back. It was on the SPX MMC. That's what I was looking for. So that's what we'll look at, right? So people are saying this is like a counter trend trade right here on the S&P 500. If you're going long, I don't look at it like that, right? I see that this is support, right? This whole area is like where I'm looking to buy. This was where I was looking to sell, right? Until we bursted out of that range. So, I see us coming to support. I buy off support, right? Sell off resistance. It looks like a good place to lean in. So, not to say that it is, or anytime I enter a trade, I have the expectation that I'm going to get stopped out. It's a really good mindset to have. A lot of traders, when they're just starting out, they feel like every trade they enter is going to be a winner. Maybe that's what causes them not to let go of the losing trade so quickly, because they don't want to be proven wrong. It's okay to be wrong as a trader. Actually, you have to have the expectations that you're going to be wrong, right? Makes things much easier. Now, looking at the 8-hour here on the S&P 500, though, you could see the true trend has turned negative. That could be the start of a down impulse here on the S&P 500. I think you have a better indication of that happening, right? If you lose this trend line. If you lose that trend line over here, if we take out the overnight lows, that then is probably, and also the first pullback on the true trend is normally one of the best entries you could find. The first pullback is one of the best ones. So if this was able to resume downwards over here, and if on the 8-hour here, this faded, and then we took out maybe this 8-hour candle over here to the downside, broke through this trend line, from here to here, I think is a good trade. And I think that you would then see a continuation. But as long as you're above this line over here at 28.58, you could look to buy off of support. If this was the low, you buy off support, get down over below this line, then we could see then I could say everyone is right and being extraordinarily bearish. But right now, this is a place for us to lean in to the long side. This was the pullback we've been waiting for. Everyone wants to buy up here. Right? That's when we talked about the risk to reward was no longer in our favor. We were looking at a trend that was very overbought with the entry CCI right here, very overbought. It's not the place to look for the long trade. So there we are. No, Anaya, it's the CCI 70 period and CCI 3 period. The entry CCI over here is the 3 period. 3 period. Right there. You can see the true trend. The trend CCI is 70 period, and then you could see the 3 period for the entry CCI. Yeah, Australian dollar, US dollar. I sense that risk on coming into the market. But so I have to be honest. Like, let's look at this. I have a resistance line over here, and I have that at 0.6916. Right now, and the reason I have it is you can see all this resistance. It's a nice level. It belongs right there. Maybe even up a little bit more. But on the upside over here, I could see this was the area of support, right? That you could see here was resistance and then it was support. So I think on the upside, this is the line I'm focused in on right now, right? Everyone could see why I have the resistance here at 0.6923. This line right here. Let me make it thick for you all to help you see it. And all right, you can see this bright line over here. And the reason I have it is because here was resistance, here was resistance, here it would turn to support briefly, and then here was resistance. So that's my line. It makes sense. But if I zoom in, you could see this yellow line right here that I have, and I'll redraw it for you. I'll even draw it as a trend line. You could see right here, this was resistance. This is local, and this was support right here. So on the upside, maybe I'll make a blue box. Like, this is the area that I might be looking to short. That's the area that I might be looking to short if we come up into there. The futures were down 3% overnight. Does that matter? Well, there's a lot of nervousness in the market. We saw what triggered it was definitely the resurgence worldwide, specifically in the United States, of the COVID. Listen, as far as when it comes to COVID, which is one of the two greatest risks we see in the market, it is tensions between the U.S. and China, and it is a second wave of COVID. What I am looking for, and what will be alarming for me, and we did see like a little bit of further problems in Beijing, right? That's got the market a little nervous. What I am interested in seeing is if at any point in Europe, if in Spain and Italy we see a resurgence, that's going to be scary to me. That will be scary to me, and that will cause me something to really think that that point, then we have a good opportunity at coming down and revisiting the March lows and or taking them out. That's what I'm watching. We're not seeing that right now. I look at the United States. So you look at the United States as a whole, and you could see that they really have not really beat the curve yet. But you have to look at it like pretend New York is Spain, right? And New York, was able to go ahead and beat the curve, and now cases are similar to the trajectory of Spain and Italy. But then you have other places. It's the United States is big and vast. So now you have other regions of the United States where we're seeing cases still rising. For example, California, or Arizona, or Florida, and you're seeing but they haven't yet beat the curve over there. So that's my view. I think it's it's what I'm looking at. So holding to tomorrow, I think retail sales data is positive and has been leaked. Victor, that could be good. No, so I went over what I was looking at early this morning, right? And basically what I'm looking at over here was I was looking at us come down and hold our trend line support. That's where we're looking to be buyers, right? And it held the horizontal support at 29.47 as well overnight. We then had come up into this area of resistance, and then we're retracing backwards, holding the support now over here at 29.72. So I was looking at the first resumption off of that to go long. Lemmy, it's what we've seen 100 times. That was nothing new. You know. Useful to know for Florida as they soon reporting last two. I also understand that the reason that the cases in California are showing higher rates of infections is because they're doing more testing as well. So I'm not really concerned about the situation with COVID right now. That also had to do with me feeling kind of comfortable leaning into this area of support over here. Now, I think that we're entering a range of consolidation, a big long range of consolidation, right? So if for this looks pretty poor technically right now, the S&P 500. By the way, let's do a quick review, and I just want to really talk about this, right? We saw the Nasdaq make new all-time highs, and at the same time, the Dow did not. The Dow did not make new all-time highs, right? And neither did the S&P 500. Now, we all looked at that as a possible warning sign. It's not good when the indices are not making new all-time highs together. If they were, that would be extraordinarily bullish. Now, the S&P over here, I'll just look over here at the ES. The S&P over here now looks pretty technically poor. Although you came down into an area of support, and maybe we hold over here and retrace up. If in short time it's not able to regain this high over here and work towards 3,300, then technically this is falling apart. I'm in that camp. Things are looking a lot worse than they were a week ago. However, at the same time, we're into some support. This move was overbought to the upside and then oversold to the downside. So we're just looking at a little bit of retrace over support. I'm not sure where it ends. The true trend over here, if it remains negative and this move fades and you take out the trend line or make lower lows over here, that becomes pretty a strong sell signal. And at that point, we have the opportunity of coming down and testing lower. I'm completely ambivalent, right? I'm just looking to play both sides and whatever is happening. Yeah, case, I would not be surprised if the markets came down and tested the March lows. That's really going to be dependent on a couple of factors. Number one, if we have a big second wave in the fall. Number two, if we start seeing a lot of bankruptcies that cause problems in the credit markets. So, that's always been my base case, that we roll over and test and or break the March lows. But I don't really care if that happens or not. I'm not, even because that's my base case. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Yeah, that's what kind of, Rob, where I'm kind of thinking, and maybe even longer, maybe even through the summer, is that we just start putting in a volatile consolidation range. Yeah, so Victor, I'm not sure about that, in the fact that, that would be up to the states, right? The individual mayors and governors, what they do, and it's more a question of whether or not that the people listen. The fabric of society is breaking down, and the people might not listen, right? There's no law saying that you need to be locked down, right? It could be the policy, but policy is not law. So I don't know. Gold is ripping upwards here. Bitcoin with it. It just looks like we're stabilizing a little bit. It looks like we're stabilizing it. I see these two yellow lines. I really see gold more along the lines of this. This is a big consolidation range going on in gold. It's a $100 range where it's consolidating in right now. I'm just kind of chilling out for a second, just enjoying being with you all this morning. We almost made 500 likes, which is great for the amount of people we had in over here. So I'm grateful for that and all of you. Can you do a house tour? No, I got all my kids in the house right now having breakfast. They're not part of the show, Jack. We got 5 little ones right here, right now, all having breakfast together. We got 4 of them under 4 years old. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for yours. I do really appreciate that. That's creepy. Yeah, we only got one little Jordan. The youngest is a boy. The rest are we got a bunch of girls. Yeah. So Tom, this is the question. This is a really important question. Tom is asking. So, where's the first place you might take profits on your S&P trade? And look, I have no idea. I don't have any type of. I have no idea. I'm not looking to take profit. I just got into the trade. And again, I talked about earlier, you want to be in the mindset of trying ruthlessly to push your winning trades, right? We could see we're coming up into an area of resistance. Let's look at this on a smaller time frame, right? Let's look on the. You can see over here we got a lot of work to do. This is still overall very bearish, right? It's we're working against the trend. The near term trend is definitely strongly against us. We are down. It just so happens we came into some areas of interest of support, and it makes sense to go ahead and dig in over there. You can see that right now we're into some resistance. Look at this level over here. It is resistance. You can see the light red line. I hope you can see it. Otherwise, I'll make it a little bit darker for you. But you can see that that's resistance that we're coming up to, and it's not just there; it's like there, right? So caution over there. We could definitely roll over. I'm aware of that, which is why I have my stops in. But as far as any take profit, um, I don't know yet. I'm hoping to turn obviously as always an intraday trade into a swing trade. Um, I'm not looking for any profit right now. I'm looking to see what develops in the market. So I can't answer that question right now. What does push a winning trade mean? That's a really good question, right? So listen, Daniel, have you ever got yourself into a trade that was going against you, and maybe you moved your stop loss, thinking if you move your stop loss a little bit, the trade will come back, and then that trade actually was held longer than it should and got out of control? That's pushing a losing trade, right? So the pushing a winning trade is the opposite of that, right? If you take profits too soon, there's an old adage that like you can't go broke taking profits too soon. Yeah, which is the case, and you probably can make yourself close to a break even trader like that, but you're not gonna be making the gains that you're looking for in trading. So by pushing winning trades is you're waiting for the market to prove you wrong and get out of that trade. So I've just entered the trade. It's just getting started. I hope. So which means right now I'm only concerned about whether or not I get stopped out. Yeah, Jonathan, I will be much more conscious of calling out numbers. And when I was looking at that light resistance line, by the way, that's coming in at 30.23. I will be much more, thanks for the reminder. That's really important for everyone. I will be trying to do that much more. Yeah, what's wonderful about Mexico is family, and families are really close over here, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of, and it's really wonderful. Uh, so family is really important in Mexico. I feel for you. Yeah, I have to say it's the greatest joy of our life. I mean, man, don't feel for me. I am extraordinarily blessed. You don't know. You have no idea the amount of joy and blessings the kids bring. It is amazing. Yeah, no. So this is a great question, Nathan, that I want to discuss. Is Nathan, because this is on my mind right now. I need to be focused in on what's going on with Bitcoin until we break out to the bull market, which we haven't done yet, right? Until we break out into the bull market, you got to be cautious on Bitcoin. Now, we're extremely bullish, why neutral on Bitcoin, right, inside our triangle, because we expect we're going to break out to the upside. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? So what as far as yeah, Joseph, I'm with you, brother. Joseph Hayes, we have 5 children as well, and I would never do it differently. Absolutely, that's awesome. Big fist bump to you, brother. Um, that's right, Weeping Angel. No matter where you live and no matter where you are, right? Family is the most important thing, for sure. Um, so yeah, I prior to meeting my wife, I lived in San Francisco. I was just in San Francisco last weekend. Let me. Um, and while I was born in New York, San Francisco became my home. Right over here, am I concerned about the correlation to the S&P 500? Now, again, a lot of people are talking about the S&P is now crashing and that we are going down to March lows. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I don't think that's happening. Now, I'm not saying come October we might be visiting those lows. That's a possibility. Maybe late September, October, things have drastically changed and we are testing those lows. That's a possibility. That's not happening right now. I do believe what Bitcoin should be, within a short time now. If it's going to break out to the bull market, it's going to do it, And I don't think the S&P is going to roll over in that time. The two at that point will lose their correlation again. There could be a further liquidity crisis in the United States, or I should say it's global, with the dollar. That could put pressure on Bitcoin. I don't see that happening right now. Could that change? Yeah, that could change. That's why we monitor the markets day to day, but that's not what's happening right now at all. Yeah, right now, Rob, and short term, they are very correlated. They are very correlated right now. When do you check up on the trade? So whether it's Forex, whether it's me and my wife met in Bosnia Herzegovina. What is happening? So sorry about that, Michael. Why do we need the Fed anyway? That's a good question, right? We need the Fed to keep the elite in power. There's an amazing book, an amazing documentary called The Creature from Jekyll Island. If you haven't watched that or read that, definitely do that. That was the first red pill that I ever took in my life, and that changed my life forever. Highly recommend it. Markets now kind of stabilizing right now. For the session, I'm looking at the time check over here, and there's definitely a lot of trading available. I'm not involved right now in any new trades on Forex. I see the Japanese yen coming off a little bit. I see a little bit slight move maybe happening here to risk back on. But in my view, this is also, I'm just waiting for an opportunity to take possibly a look at a short. I'm waiting as we come back up now here, possibly to look for the short side over here. But you could see that is happening over here. Michael, super chat. Hey, man, appreciate the support and the love. Everyone in here, thank you for that. You guys are the best community by far online. I'm not kidding when I said yesterday I was missing you all and looking forward to getting online with you all. And then this morning, I wanted to get online like 15 minutes early because of what was happening in the markets. I wanted to be able to share it with you. The volume is low. The volume was very low. Oh, market volume. Mitch, I thought you were talking about my volume. Sammy, what's going on? Oh, we got to add to the broadcast over here. Let me try this. So, Michael, I just want to say thank you for that and for the support. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I feel like-minded people are attracted to each other, and what we got going on here is pretty amazing. I like it. Opinion on the second wave. I think the real issue is the first time no one was aware and we went to sleep and wake up with thousands of cases without any info on how to protect ourselves and distancing. Second wave is most likely coming, but myself and the average Joe, we all at least know the minimum to do. That's all true. That's all true. But the question is the second time will people respect it and do it? Now, and I'm talking about in the United States. I think in the rest of the world they will. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how they feel in Italy, But I do know in the United States that there's some people who are kind of fed up, and they might not make the best decisions. Yeah, Tongbong Song. I usually am entering the market with buy and sell stop orders. I was a bit early buying puts on this overdone rally. A friend recommended your channel. I would have benefited from the do's and don'ts and do that. You know what? That's where it's all at. It's just a question of us looking at the markets together, not getting emotional, and just kind of being able to look at the market from that unbiased perspective with patience and wait for our setups. It's not a question of needing or having to be right all the time. Actually, you don't even need to be right half the amount of time to make a really good living, right? But by working together, by looking at the markets, and just being very level headed, it makes a big difference in everyone's trading. And of course, whether, I've had professional traders, 20, 30 years, write lengthy notes publicly on the YouTube describing what an asset this is. These are professionals, 20, 30 years, right? And then we have, people have joined the community with no experience, and have come in and within several weeks, within 6 weeks, and I've been able to go ahead and start putting up profitable weeks. That's a big deal. This community is solid. I'm grateful for all of you. I think this is where we're going. Yeah, there it goes. Jordan taught us to be predators, just lurking. Trading is really all preparation. It's all doing your homework. It's doing your analysis. It's feeling the market. It's waiting and watching, and then setting up the trade and then taking it. That's where it's at. A lot of people do the opposite. They're always in the market. They feel like they need to make money. They need to be in a trade. That's the surest way to lose money. It's the surest way to lose money. We are surfers and predators. That's right. We need some type of logo. Got to include a taco. We got to have a surfer. We got to have predators up in there. Nice, Sammy. All right, everyone. We're going to call this a session. I look forward this afternoon. I actually want to get into what has been happening with the Robinhood traders and the Citadel algos. We'll take a look into that. My losses almost vanished. Thank you. That is awesome. Love to end and hear something like that. That is awesome. Awesome, Sammy. This is the new platform. I'm glad that we had the problem with Zoom today. I hear the sound is better. I hear the sound is better. Listen, by the way, just to show you, if you entered a short trade right here at market and your stop loss was above this resistance here, right? Or if you entered a short here with your stop loss all the way above the high, whatever you choose to put your stop loss, right? You should be risking the same percentage per trade. You should be risking the same percentage that trade. The only difference is your position size. The only difference is your position size. All right, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the session. Thank you for the what we got going in here, the connection. You guys are all great. I appreciate you all. I thank you all. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Martha, by the way, everyone, Martha is probably the hardest working person I know in the industry. She teaches herself, she does the homework. She's going to make it. She's going to make it. Martha, big shout out to you. Roman, yum, yum, yum. Thank you. Everyone, have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.